Did you see that NHPC got upgraded to a high conviction outperform by CLSA? The stock jumped 7% early on.
Yeah, I did. I saw that. It's interesting because the stock has actually tanked about 19% over the last year.
Right. So it's kind of a contrarian call, huh? I mean, why the sudden bullishness when it's been underperforming?
Well, CLSA seems to think the recent correction actually gives investors inexpensive opportunity to accumulate.
Ah, buy low, sell high, the old adage. But what's driving this potential upside?
They're pointing to a few things. First, the Parbati 2 hydro project is about to start, and that's expected to boost their regulated equity by like 27% in the first quarter of fiscal year 2025.
Wow, that's a significant jump. And what else is in the works?
Also, their entry into shorter duration regulated pump storage. Apparently, CLSA thinks the stock price could even double in the next 4 years.
Double. That's quite the projection. I mean, what's their current operational capacity?
They're sitting at 7,233 MW. Most of it, 6,571 MW, is hydropower, with the rest being renewable energy.
Okay, so they're clearly betting on hydro. And it sounds like they're expanding quite a bit, right?
Exactly. They've got another 9,314 MW of hydro projects under construction and even more in the pipeline.
So it's not just the Parbati project, but also a broader growth story. I wonder what their target price is.
CLSA trimmed it slightly to rupees 117 per share, but that still indicates a pretty substantial upside of, around 57%.
Okay, so even with the trim, they're confident in NHPC's potential. It's interesting how a brokerage firm's rating can really affect a stock's performance, at least in the short term.
Right. I mean, it gives investors a new perspective and can shift market sentiment. So, about that 19% drop over the last year, do they account for that?
Yes, they mentioned the 25% correction in NHPC shares over the past 6 months as another reason why it is an inexpensive opportunity to buy.
Makes sense. So, it looks like CLSA sees a lot of potential in NHPC's future growth, especially with these hydro projects coming online. For those listening, we advise investors to check with certified experts before taking any investment decisions. Disclaimer and all that.
Yeah, definitely. And, hydropower can be a tricky sector, right? There are environmental considerations, regulatory hurdles, and all that.
Exactly. But NHPC is state owned, so perhaps they have an advantage in navigating those challenges. Plus, the fact that they're expanding into renewable energy as well diversifies their portfolio a bit.
Good point. So, if I'm understanding this correctly, the high conviction outperform rating is based on a combination of near term catalysts like the Parbati project, longer term growth prospects in hydropower, and a reasonable valuation due to the recent stock correction.
Precisely. It's like a perfect storm of positive factors, at least according to KLSA.
So, what do you think the biggest risk is for NHPC moving forward? I mean, what could derail this bullish outlook?
Well, project delays are always a risk in the infrastructure space, especially with hydro projects. Any significant delays in commissioning those new projects could definitely impact their earnings and, investor sentiment.
True. And, changes in government policy or environmental regulations could also throw a wrench in the works.
Absolutely. So it's not a risk-free investment by any means. But CLSA seems to be betting that NHPC can overcome these challenges and deliver on its growth potential.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. A potential doubling of the stock price in 4 years is a pretty tempting proposition.
It is. It's also a good reminder that market sentiment can shift quickly.
Speaking of market sentiment, do you think that CLSA's upgrade could encourage other brokerages to take a closer look at NHPC?
Possibly, it could create a domino effect where other analysts start to see the same potential and upgrade their ratings as well. That could further boost the stock price.
So, in summary, CLSA upgraded NHPC to high conviction outperform due to the recent stock correction, the start of the Parbati 2 hydro project boosting regulated equity, and the firm's entry into shorter duration regulated pump storage. They are anticipating the stock could double in the next 4 years.
Exactly. It will be interesting to watch.
Absolutely. Oh, and before we wrap up, let's not forget to mention their recent quarterly performance and that dividend. For the December 2024 quarter, Their total revenue was 2,425.5 crore rupees. Their operating profit was nearly 790 crore rupees, with a profit margin of around 40%.
Nice. And they've also announced an interim dividend, right?
Yes, a 14% interim dividend, which works out to 1.4 rupees per share. The record date for eligibility is February 13th, 2025. So shareholders can expect that payout soon.
That's a nice little bonus for investors. It shows the company is generating cash and returning some of it to shareholders, even amidst all this growth planning.
Well, listeners, we hope you enjoyed this dive into NHPC's upgrade. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe.
Agreed. What other companies should we analyze next time?